everyone. Welcome to another episode of Keeping Up the Conversation. I am your host, Miss Tori, and that guy right there on the other side of the screen is my co host, Big Ken. What's up? Yeah, you.
What's
What's up?
up?
We are back in effect, live in action. And today, the hot topics, it's not, of course, it's not like we want to jump on the bandwagon, but of course, we're going to talk about the George Floyd trial is one of our hot topics today. So, as you all may know, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted yesterday on all charges in the death of George Floyd. Floyd died May 2020 after Chauvin placed his knee on Floyd's neck while he pleaded, "I can't breathe." Chauvin is 45, was convicted on all charges. Let's see, it was second degree, unintentional murder, third degree murder, and second degree manslaughter. The jury deliberated for more than 10 hours over 2 days and coming up with this decision. So Chauvin faces up to 40 years in prison for second degree murder, up to 25 years for third degree murder, and up to 10 years for second degree murder. So immediately after the verdict, Biden made a statement saying, no one should be above the law. Today's verdict sends that message, but it's not enough. We can't stop here. In order to deliver real change and reform, we can and we must do more to reduce the likelihood that tragedies like this ever occur. So, before we move on to Vice President Kamala Harris's statement. I mean, what are your thoughts on the verdict, Big Ken?
I mean, I thought that everything was fitting. Um, I was excited about the verdict because my thing is, and somebody has to set the example. We've had too many situations where things like this have occurred, and we have video evidence of things occurring, and people still not get prosecuted for doing things that are wrong. So in this situation, the person who did the wrong got got the right verdict. But here's the other question: is what is he actually going to be sentenced to? Now that's the question because you got to remember, like in the Botham John case, she got found guilty as well, but she got a lighter sentence. So I'm interested to see what they're going to actually sentence him, for.
Yeah, and as I was listening to a couple of the reporters on CNN and what was it, Yahoo News and all that, they were talking about the fact that although he was found guilty on all three charges, eventually he's going to get out. So it's like how old he will be when he gets out, who knows? But at some point, just based on the charges, he's going to get out. And I think that when I heard um, the verdict, it was one of those things where it's a new step for just in terms of unifying the community, black, white, brown, whatever. But the thing that really concerns me is that it's almost like you're waiting. When is this going to happen again? And we're not yet as a people in that place where we feel comfortable when the police approach us. We're not there yet, but I think that as a community, this situation has kind of united us. But again, we still sit back and say, when is this going to happen again now? Vice President Kamala Harris, in her statement, she said that today we feel a sigh of relief. Still, it cannot take away the pain. A measure of justice isn't the same as equal justice. This verdict brings us a step closer. And the fact is, we still have work to do. We still must reform the system. So this is what she said in her remarks from the White House. And I think it's a great thing that the president and vice president both recognize. Yeah, this is a step in the right direction, but that we still need reform. And
Yeah, this
so
is only the beginning.
this
Yeah.
is definitely only the beginning. And I want, it's not that I wonder, but you have people that celebrated in the streets when all of this happened, just like they were when OJ Simpson was found not guilty. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, what is the celebration all about? Is it, I personally don't want people to think that as an African American we're throwing it in their face. It's just I look at the celebration like, okay, you finally someone's listening.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, you have to set the precedence. I mean, because when you see a police officer do something like this and actually get in trouble for it and actually get, punished for it, then maybe that will improve these situations going forward, because these police officers will understand that they can actually get prosecuted for these crimes, and they have to think twice, because the problem is I hear people talk about all the time how people react to things and the things that people did to get them into situations where a cop might kill them or shoot them or whatever the case may be. But you got to understand that a cop is trained. A police officer is trained to police. That's what he's trained to do. So you expect a person off the street to react in the same manner that a police officer would, and that's not fair.
Right.
You're talking about many different people, many different varieties with no training of how to be a human being. So I think the balance when people have those conversations is off balance, because you can't expect every human being to react to a situation a certain way. So these police officers, they have training. They if they need more training or whatever the case may be, but we shouldn't be having these situations constantly. Especially back to back like this, like that's been happening. So yeah, something's got to be done, and hopefully this is a stepping stone in the right direction.
Yeah, I was listening to you when saying that in terms of training with the police officer. I definitely believe that even after, now that the verdict is over and now that the case is, not necessarily over yet because he still has to get his sentencing in about 6 to 8 weeks. But I do think that the conversations are going to continue beyond the sentencing because, like you said, something has to be done. We got to come together as a community, and maybe cops need better sensitivity training. So, you know, we'll see, and we'll definitely keep a watch on this. So, on a lighter note, well, you know what? This isn't a lighter note, but it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, a Washington D.C. pastor was accused of fraud. Buying a Tesla with the PPP loan. So Washington D.C. pastor, he was charged with wire fraud after he allegedly lied to get a $1.5 million loan under the COVID-19 payment protection program and ended up buying a Tesla and a fleet of other used luxury cars. Now, Pastor Rudolph Brooks Jr., he's 45 years old. He was arrested earlier this month after allegedly faking tax returns and payroll forms for a business that he owns to apply for the loan under the federal government CARES Act. Brooks, who's a pastor, we got to say the name. Brooks is a pastor at Kingdom Tabernacle of Restoration. He also allegedly tried to fraudulently apply for two other PPP loans that were for $1.8 million and $200,000. The fraud, but the fraud wasn't tied to his position at the church. Following his arrest, the FBI seized 2.2 million in funds from 11 different bank accounts and the Tesla that he allegedly purchased using the PPP loan. Big Ken, come on, tell me something about this.
Well, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start like this, okay? At least Pastor wasn't stealing the church's money.
Yeah,
He got
okay,
his
amen,
own
amen.
he got his own loan on his own time. Look
By
at the end of
himself.
at the end of it all. Anytime I see a pastor, a preacher, a man of the cloth get into anything, I remind people before he became that, he was a man, and he still is a man, and he's gonna die a man. So
Yeah.
when people in ministry of any sort, of any religion, of any background, get caught up in these things, I don't look down on them, because God said, "Let us not judge." I'm not gonna judge that man and his actions and his needs, but the people that attend that church, you know what I'm saying, you got questions for Pastor. So look, if you out there and you praying to God for a blessing, don't take it into your own hands. Sometimes you just got to be patient and wait on the Lord, and you will receive. This pastor, he didn't have patience and he wasn't going to wait. So he took it upon himself because God knew this dude was trouble. So guess what? When he was sending his prayers up, they were going straight to God's spam mailbox.
Yeah, they sure
And he,
were. They most definitely were. And you know that show, American Greed?
yes.
There are gonna be so many people on that show. And Pastor Brooks is going to be the first one on the show. So I know that you're not supposed to judge, and I know there's countless verses in the Bibles that say you're not supposed to judge. However, on KUTC Live, your host, Miss Tori, is about to judge
Oh
because
my God.
look, listen, no, no, hold on, listen, because Pastor Brooks of Kingdom Tabernacle Restoration Church knew better. He knew better, and it had nothing to do with the Lord. And it has nothing to do with me judging right now. However,
She said the whole church name. She said the
I
whole
did.
church
I
name.
think I want, hey, let the church know. Let the church know that I know. And look, this had nothing to do with, this is all about greed.
Yep.
And I'm gonna stop right there because I know we have to get into fun facts with Big Ken.
Yeah, I got some fun facts for y'all.
I
I mean,
love these
that,
fun facts I always get informed because I never know. It's just to let the audience know, I never know about the fun facts until Big Ken tells us together.
I
So
try to hide them from her because I want her to be surprised and shocked just like everybody else. Um, y'all know my fun facts. I always try to find something weird or different to make you say, what? And I got a list that I'm compiling of fun facts. But this week, it's something crazy, right? Let me ask you all a question. Growing up, I know a lot of you all had chores just like I had chores. So one of my chores was ironing. So I did a lot of ironing. Like I ironed a lot of stuff growing up, right? So in my adulthood, never would I think that ironing would be fun. Like I don't know about you, Tori, is ironing fun to you?
heck no, iron is no.
I send all my clothes to
No.
the cleaners. I let somebody else have their fun. But
Exactly, exactly.
it's people out there that enjoy it, that enjoy ironing. They call it extreme ironing.
Extreme iron. This is
When I
crazy.
show you these pictures, people, you won't believe me, but they're real. This is what people actually do. This is called extreme ironing. You got
No
skydiving
way.
and ironing.
No
You got
way.
you got a man on the top of a cliff. I couldn't show the whole picture. It was just too tall. This man is up there on this cliff. He's ironing. Now, I don't know. You see he has an extension cord. This is crazy.
That is crazy.
Now,
Oh
I don't know
my
how he's going to
gosh.
iron, but you got skydiving and ironing. This man jumped off the cliff and still ironing. And you got biking and ironing. All these
Oh
are
my
facts. All these are real.
God.
You got bungee ironing. And you got
Oh my
underwater
God.
ironing.
Now what? Okay,
Now these
hold
are
on
all
one
sections
second.
of
One
the
second.
extreme ironing.
Okay, not only, okay, wait, wait, wait. So this, yeah, all right. This is extreme ironing,
Hmm.
but it's also like not necessarily daredevil stuff, but it's more along the lines of people going above and beyond. Do these people really like to iron? Or are they just kind of trying to show you ways you can iron and burn
I
yourself and kill
mean,
yourself at the same time?
to risk your life ironing, I would say that they love it. I would say that they actually have a love for this. It's an extreme sport, because like I said, I mean, I'm telling you right now, people, bungee cording, deep sea diving, jumping off of cliffs, not my thing, and I'm not gonna be able to do it.
No.
So I respect them for that because I'm not doing any of those, and I don't like ironing anyway, as I said before. So none of this stuff makes sense to me, but I respect them for enjoying something like that, and that's why it's weird. That's why it's
Yeah,
weird. So I'm
that's,
pretty sure to
yeah.
y'all it's weird too. So I just thought I'd present y'all with that as my fun fact for today. That is actually a real sport. If you don't believe
Wow.
me, as usual, you can Google it, find out all these interesting facts, and there are more examples of extreme ironing out there. So go check it out.
Yes. like I said, I always like your fun facts. And one thing about that fun fact is that that can never happen to me because that ironing board, haven't seen an ironing board like that in buku years. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll let them have that.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, you know what, guys? Our guest today is an award winning CEO, author, creator, director, designer, lifestyle strategist, and she helps others evolve through lessons of love, wellness, and wealth consciousness. Welcome to the show, Rainie Howard. Hey,
Hey,
Rainie.
hello, hello.
Hi
Hello.
there. It is so good to
Hi.
have you on the show today. Thank you so much. I
I,
know you are a busy woman.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. Now, we are kind of like, I don't know if you and your PR people. Yes, she has PR people. Yep. If you guys, if you kind of read, we just first of all, we always have entrepreneurs and celebrities on the show. But the one thing that I always like to do is kind of ask people, where they're from. Like, where are you from originally, and where are you now?
All right. Well, I am actually from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I lived in Chicago for a few years ago. But yeah, that's where I'm from. Or was you asking like where am I from as far as like how I started or
No, no, girl, we're gonna get to
Oh,
that. Hold
okay.
on.
Oh,
So,
okay. I'm making sure. I want to jump the
so
gun.
you all right, so you started your journey by sharing your story and truth through transparency online. Now, this is what I want to know because first of all, I love everything that you do and everything that you stand for. Anytime that it doesn't have to be African American woman at all. Anytime a woman is doing what we are doing, Big Ken, we're not trying to eliminate you, but right now we're talking about women. So, I totally respect that. But you started your journey, like I said, through transparency online. But what was the story that now has people seeking your advice and guidance? Because I don't really, I know you based on your books, but I want to know,
Mhm.
like, how did this all start? Your journey?
Yeah, so definitely it was me connecting with my audience through blogs, through just sharing my relationship experiences, sharing, a lot of women in my audience. A big amount of them are single women who were looking for love, looking for, healthy relationships, and I basically shared my journey. So me telling my story, talking about my marriage, me being married now is it's been 17 years. And but at the time when I started, it was just me sharing how young I was when my husband and I when we got married, we were 20, 21, fresh out of, getting out of college. And just how a lot of people in our friend group and our generation wasn't really making those decisions and how much we grew through at such an early age, and it was just the transparency of that, the relationship topics, the relationship videos. It turned into books, it turned into events and conferences, and it continued to grow. Today we have a podcast and a show, um, and
Wait,
it's a
hold
mixture.
on.
Okay,
So
okay,
wait.
yeah,
So hold on. So you got married young.
yes,
So this is full, not full transparency. This,
yes.
I don't do that. But so you got married really young. So I'm making the assumption, or I'm assuming, maybe I'll just ask a question that, maybe someone in the audience might ask. But so there must have getting married young. There must have been some issues that you had to work through in order to not perfect it, but okay, you know what? This is what being married is like, not like how that was. So I'm assuming that you there was some struggles in the beginning.
Definitely, of course. Just being able, just going through the journey of of finding the one. And a lot of what I talk about, even in my books, is how it was not only about the physical attraction and what you like about the person, but it was a spiritual connection, and really guiding people to their intuition and knowing how to understand that the decisions you make, the relationships you have, how they shape your life, how they have a big impact on the path that you go throughout your life, and how, even back then, I was very in tune and aware of, my intuition and what was God's will for my life, and being connected to my husband. So I shared the story of dating and being desperate for love and finding the one, and getting married and going through the different challenges of learning how to really communicate effectively, and really learning how to grow and evolve together.
Mhm.
Because I always say, we're not who we were 10 years ago. We're all evolving,
Definitely, yes.
and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're it's like you're married to a new person as you evolve throughout the years, and knowing how to grow in that evolution of love,
Yeah,
I was gonna
it's Oh, go ahead.
process.
no,
No, go ahead, Ken.
no,
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say she read my mind because that's one question I like to ask all the time is the advice that you give people who knowing that you've been married, all these years, that's a long time, and over that time span, people change as individuals as well as in a relationship. So, how do you, what type of advice do you have for people who are dealing with the changes that occur? Because a lot of times, people change a lot and you have to
Yeah,
readjust and you have to
yeah.
step back
Exactly.
and go through these phases of maybe starting to date all over again and dating
Yes.
differently, doing different stuff because now 10 years ago y'all might not have been financially where you are, so now you can do different things and things has changed. So
Right.
what type of advice do you give
Yeah.
people if they come to you with that?
And you know what? That's the exciting part, because if you really see your spouse as a new, fresh person that you need to get to know all over again, that you need to date all over again, that you need to pursue all over again, and connect with as if this is a new love, that brings even more excitement to the relationship instead of that stagnant, just
Yeah,
same old. I know you, we've been together 50 years, but
yeah.
just being able to have that excitement, like, oh wow, you are new, you're not who you were when we first met. Let's explore this, let's grow together, let's travel, let's learn, let's date each other, and I think that's what keeps the love and the relationship in an exciting place to
Mhm.
continue to grow and evolve.
Oh yeah. I agree. I know that a lot of people think that when you get married, when you've been married for such a long time, there's no more newness left. When that's just totally not true. And it also gets to the point when people think there is no more newness left, they end up going their separate ways without even trying. To drum up. There's so much. I think
Hmm.
I'm like you, Rainey. I've been married now, almost 70, 60, 17 years. I don't remember, but it's like we're always trying to do new stuff, and it's so funny that sometimes I'll walk by him and I'll just laugh, and then but then you have that laughter and then you feel blessed because there's some people that are walking by and they're just two ships passing by, in the middle of the
Hmm.
night, and so yeah, I totally agree, Rainey, that you have to find ways to bring or instill or inject there's that newness into your relationship, you know. But so,
Yeah.
but you guys, so I think it was if I get the year wrong, let me know. But I think in like 2015, you and your husband, Patrick.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, launched Real Love Exists. Tell us a little bit about that.
So around that time, around our anniversary, and I shared, an old picture of us and where we were today at that time. And I basically shared our story and it went viral. It ended up reaching over 1 million people. And
Wow.
that was, back when Facebook organic was just
Yeah. Mhm.
and yeah, and so doing that, I had a lot of people share, oh my God, thank you for sharing your story. And people were basically saying, you're really giving me hope. A lot of, the women that were connecting to the message were saying, you're giving me hope and I'm believing in love. And so we decided to start Real Love Exists just to empower people, inspire people to know that you can have real love, and there are stereotypes about what love looks like and whether black love exists or what love looks like. And so just to show images that you can be young, you can be African American, you can love strong and have real love and a healthy family dynamic. And just you may not see it all the time on TV, but real love does exist. And so that's what led us to
Okay.
start that. Yeah.
Okay. So, so I want to talk about the love during the pandemic. Because see, so I interviewed a couple of therapists. So no, check this out. So I interviewed a couple of therapists, and they were sex therapists, and I interviewed them just as we were probably about 8 months into the pandemic. And so one of the things that came up was that people don't really realize that what to do when they have so much time together. But then one thing that I didn't talk to them about was, what if you're single and you're trying to date during the pandemic? Um, you know, but it could be dangerous. So can you kind of tell us like how it really can. I'm serious because you have these people that were single going
Mhm.
into the pandemic, and then when the pandemic happens, not only are single, but they're even more lonely. So I kind
Yeah.
of want to know, like, can you kind of tell me, like, because dating has boomed during the pandemic, so I kind of want to know,
Mhm.
like, what's the caution, and what you look out for, what are the red flags, and how do you date and
That's
find love
extreme
during the
dating.
pandemic? Yeah.
You know what? What I tell people is to start in the beauty of the world we live in today and virtual. Start with virtual dating, FaceTiming, video dating. They have something on these dating apps now where you can actually have a virtual date and you can, really get to know a person. I think it's important that you set a foundation to get to know a person. Um, Back when I met my husband, when we were dating, we would spend hours just talking on the phone, like just hours, like just talking on the phone. And I think people have gotten away from some of the old things that worked because we have so much technology and distraction and social media. But I think the more you get to know a person, the more you build a friendship and set a healthy foundation, that's going to kind of help you to be more, aware of the type of person you're dealing with. And, when it comes to meeting the person and, after you feel comfortable, if you feel like they need to take a test, you need to take a test before you have contact. Do what makes you feel safe. But there are so many ways to really, get and start relationships even during this time.
I wanted to say something too.
Okay.
You just said that was important about the friendship. And I like to point that out to people too, that it's important for you to be friends with the person before you engage in a long relationship, because there's going to be days where that person's going to get on your nerves and you ain't
Yes.
going to want to be around them, but that's still your friend because y'all have that basis of a friendship. And there's going to be a lot of days where you're going to feel like your husband or your wife is not your husband or your wife. They just your friend today.
Yes. You are
so
that's so true.
so
That is
friendship is
so true.
important.
Very important to a lasting relationship.
So all
Definitely.
right. So here I come. You know, the lasting relationship, like you said, getting connected. But then, in order to um, Well, okay, so you're gonna have to detox. So in order for you to detox, that means that something went wrong. So I'm just a Debbie Downer. So so how do you like detox? Well, I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna even say rainy detox. I want to know like how do you get to a point in a relationship where you because a lot of people are experiencing this during the pandemic. How do you get to a point in a relationship where it almost seems like you guys cannot get back together? But the love is still there. So how do you? I guess it is. How do you detox? How do you get all that bad stuff out so you guys can come together and maybe it won't always be like it was on day one. But how do you bring that love back? I know because I know that some people can maybe fall out of love a little bit, but I know that you can get back. So like
Definitely.
how do you do that? Like what's a step that someone if there's someone that's listening right now, what is some advice you would give them to get back to love?
I think the biggest part is to first of all figure out what's going on with you emotionally, because sometimes you could be your own feelings of yourself, or a lot of people gain weight during the pandemic. Maybe they're not feeling lovable, or they don't like where they are in their own situation. That can impact your relationship. You can, and so I think the more you work on your self-care, your health, mind, body, and spirit, the more you can feel more healthier, more joyful in a relationship. I think the problem is people want their significant other to be the answer and to fix me and help me and love me and make me feel better and make me
Yeah,
happy, when it's like that's not that person's job. I
right.
mean, you can only know how to really heal and do your own self work, and then you come together in love and everything. But sometimes you may need to give your partner some space. You need to just love on them and just not try to badger them. What's wrong with you? We need to talk. Just kind of sometimes you need to create a little space
Right.
before it's time to build something new and fresh. And so just being engaged with that energy and the environment, and like I said, using that intuition, being in tune with what's going on and not trying to force something, is very important.
So do you agree with couples? I mean, I know you kind of touched on it just for a second, but do you agree with couples having that space? Like, do you think that that space is sort of like for that person to kind of reset? Do you agree
Yeah.
with space?
I think you should give people their space. I think, sometimes we can be all in each other's space, and that's what we need, just to back off a little bit, go take a walk, whatever, breather. I think it is important. I think everyone at some point needs their me time. And you got to kind of know, the stress levels. A lot could be going on. And just knowing how to say, okay, I'm gonna let my husband go ahead and process what he's dealing with. I'm not gonna badger him and tell him you need to talk to me.
Yeah,
You need to take me out. You need to,
yeah.
whatever. But just be aware of all of those things, and not be afraid to have a little space. um but know that, have that confidence and knowing that your love is strong, and you continue to work on that.
I was about to say that in terms of giving someone space when, if the love is strong, if the person does have the space, be it the space being maybe inside of the home or, hey, I got to get out. I got to, move out for a little while. I think that sometimes if your love, and, you correct me because Randy, you're the expert on this. So if the, if the love is strong, it can kind of withstand that space in between. Um,
Exactly.
you think so?
Yeah, I think really is two willing people that want the relationship to work, even if they're in a rocky space. You really love that person. You want to make it work. Yeah, it's okay to create that space, but you can't. And I always tell people you can't control another person. If a person wants out, if they really don't want to make it work, You can't force that either. So either
Right.
way, you should be willing to allow, and not try to force or beg people to do you right or chase them down. You got to know what's best for your mind, body, and spirit within the relationship. That's very important.
Well,
I
let me
think it's
ask you this. Oh, go ahead. Wait, Ken, let me ask her this real quick because so Ken had Big Ken has another show, and one of their shows I can't remember, it was a while ago, but one of the shows was about cheating, and so my thing is, and Ken, hold your thought because I want you to ask her the question you're going to ask her. Um, um, if a Do you think, and I know that, okay, so I'm a journalist, I'm not big on yes or no questions, but I'm because I know just in respect
Okay,
in
yeah.
just in respect of time, I just want to. I don't want a yes or no answer from this. Okay,
Okay.
if someone
Hmm.
cheats, um, can they come back and trust each other enough to continue on with a healthy relationship?
Yes, I believe that they can. However, it will require building that trust because the trust is gone completely. So
Mhm.
there's a process to that. And that person, they need to both be willing to go through the process of building that trust and learning how to, because it's a whole new relationship after that, and this is,
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
understanding the
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
Yeah. Understanding like this is a whole new relationship now. So not only do we have to build trust, but I got to get to know you because now I
right.
just I just saw a part of you I didn't know. And so how do
That's
we
right. Yeah,
go through that process together? But yeah, it requires some work and definitely you deciding and making that choice that you want that relationship is very important.
right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Big Ken. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that when we were talking about the space, I think the space is very important too because people have to understand when you came into the relationship, you came into the relationship as individuals. Like you had things that you liked, and she has things that she liked, and vice versa. So you have to give each other room to do those things. If you got a person that likes sports and you don't really like sports, and she likes to sing and you don't really like, what I'm saying, events or something like that. Like it's a give and take. You go support her where she's doing her thing over here and she comes support you. And you also have time to do those things on your own. So when you come
Yeah.
back together, you have something to talk about because to me, if you're together all the time, like you
Yeah.
have nothing to talk about. You have nothing to glean from and say these are my different experiences. And I was going to bring up also we were talking about earlier with the issues in a relationship. I tell people all the time we have baggage, right? And I
Hmm.
look at it like we walk around with a virtual backpack. So as we go
Hmm.
throughout the day, as we go throughout the weeks, we're steady putting stuff in that bag. So the
Hmm.
person who is with us, what I'm saying, part of your responsibility in a relationship is try to help that person kind of unpack that. So whether it be on a daily basis or weekly basis or something like that, just in conversation, try to help them unpack that. And also when you have counseling is important as well in relationships. So if you're having issues, sometimes there might need to be a third party that needs to listen to you separately and him separately and then try to help fix the relationship as a whole because there's processes put in place for a reason and we just got to respect those instead of always trying to fix it ourselves because I'm telling you a lot of times we try to fix it ourselves, it
Yeah.
goes south
It get
quick.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets worse. Or you know what, Big Ken? You know what you need to do before that person come in your house? Say, let me see what's in your backpack. What's in your backpack? Because when you ain't bringing out, you're not bringing all that baggage in here. We
You know
gotta fix
what?
this.
That's a problem too that a lot of people don't look at in relationships because, like Miss Rainey said earlier, they get caught up in the what the person looks like and their
Hmm.
representative
Yeah.
that they portray at the beginning of a relationship, and they don't ask about the baggage that they're coming with. And when you
They
don't ask,
ignore it all. They
Yeah.
ignore all of
Yeah.
they
that.
ignore
Yeah.
all of that. So
Exactly.
then in the relationship, as it goes on, that baggage pops up and it's like, hey, I'm here and I'm full. And this
Hmm.
person
Hmm.
he needs to unload it or she needs to unload it. And now you got problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when someone is talking like, okay, so so a woman and a man are talking, and they are not married yet. They're just in a relationship, and they're talking about what if they got married, what would make it successful, what would make it work. What are some keys that you would give to, or what some yeah, what are some keys to a happy marriage?
Definitely what Ken said earlier, friendship. I say number one, really become friends first. I think friendship, that is a huge, big thing because some people only have physical connections and then they get married and then,
Wow,
that's out of the
yeah.
window. So I would say friendship first, and um, just the willingness to be committed, to make the decision to choose that person. Because some people, they'll want to get in a relationship, and then when things go wrong, they're done, and they're like, oh, I don't want to work on this. I don't want to, decide, make this work or commit to this, and they run. So I think you need to make sure before you marry a person, is this person reliable? Are they committed? Do I see them being a great parent? Or people don't think of that. They jump into relationships, and then they find out later on, okay, you basically dealing with some of the same baggage they had in their past, with the past, mothers of their children,
Right.
and that you heard them complaining about. Now they're complaining about you to somebody
Yeah,
new. So you got to pay
yeah.
attention to that. If they're constantly talking negative about their ex, don't be surprised if that could turn around and they talk about
Oh,
you the same
yeah.
way.
That's a good idea.
And when you talk
Yep,
about
Yeah,
that's a
parenting,
good
that's
idea.
that's a key too, because you got a lot of
very.
situations these days where people come into a relationship, especially if you get into a relationship and you're a little older. So the other person might have a child, or you both might have children, but you can't
Hmm.
be surprised when that guy or that lady isn't taking care of your child that you have together when they
Hmm.
weren't taking care of the children that you saw them with before.
Yeah,
So what's the
exactly.
shocker?
Right.
So
Exactly.
Exactly,
we
yes.
choose to overlook a lot of things because we like how a person look, or we like the aesthetics of it,
Hmm.
but we don't really look and get to know the person themselves. So that causes a lot of problems down the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the things that I'm really big on, believe it or not, is compromise. I'm big. See, I knew he was going to do that. I ain't going to do that. Well, you know what? That's just what co-hosts do.
I
Rainy,
felt
don't.
that, but go
Yeah,
ahead, keep
yeah,
going.
Rainy. Yeah, Rainy. Don't laugh at him. Go like this to the camera so you can't feel it. So, I'm big on compromise, but here's what's crazy is that so one of the shows that I like to watch is the first 48. I love to watch that show. And see what I mean? Yeah. So co-host drama. So I love to watch that show. My husband, he doesn't like to watch it, and
Mhm.
so there's a lot of things that we try to compromise on. And so the compromise is that okay, fine, you'll watch the show. I'm not gonna really watch it with you, but what I will do is, I'll cook you dinner, I'll give you snacks, because this is how deep I am into. I don't know why, Rainy, but I am. And so the compromise is that he doesn't really watch it, but he'll like, make dinner or whatever for me, so that I have my little platter around me, so I can really get into the show. But here's the thing: is that when it comes to like friendships, so a friend of mine, one of the things she's always saying is that okay, well, we're friends, you should be able to compromise. You compromise with everything else. Like she likes to do the gift gift basket classes. I don't want to do that. And
Mhm.
and so, and so I feel like, and I know this has nothing to do with the relationship, but Rainy, you're the expert when it comes to relationships. This is
Yes.
my friend. My friend, I want to do stuff with her. So
Hmm.
I know that there has to be compromises in a marriage and in a friendship. How do you
Hmm.
compromise in a situation, whether it be a marriage or whether it be a friendship, when it's something you absolutely do not want to do?
I think if, as long as it's not interfering with your health or your boundaries, where you like, oh, I've had enough, I need a break, because there are certain people that compromise and they deplete themselves. and they feel exhausted, or they're stressed, or they're overwhelmed. They over, gave, generous in some way, and now they feel depleted and exhausted. So when it's that, I say you shouldn't compromise. You should be stand on your no. But when it's like a friend, you just want to be with them, but you don't like what they want to do, and you kind of like it's kind of like a hobby. I think the best thing in that place is just looking at the fact of how much you really want to spend time with them, and putting that above the activity, and just enjoying that time. And then a lot of times you can say, well, if I do this for you, we got to do this, so they
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
compromise as well. So it's 50-50. It's not just you all alone compromising
yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
So
Do you
yeah,
think
you're
it's
right.
do you think it's
That
good
makes
to
sense.
just be honest with them though? Do you feel like you should be honest and say, hey man, I'm really not into this. This
Like,
your
"Ugh, I
thing,
want to do this."
but I'm gonna go kick it with you and I'm gonna check it out. But you know what I'm saying? Because I
You
mean, my
know what?
thing is,
I think you should, because you really care about the person, you're willing to engage a little bit. Like for me, like with my husband, he's really into baseball. And so, I can deal with baseball. I'm not a huge fan, but I really care, and he's so excited. He likes talking about it. So I'm like, oh, so tell me, and I can find myself getting even more interested the more that I'm engaging, just
Oh, that's
because that's what
cute.
he likes.
That's
that's true.
cute.
So just, and then I guess I'm asking him all these questions because I'm thinking about all the players and the decisions they make. I'm thinking about the business side and their personality. I'm thinking the psychology side because that's my mind and brain. That's what interests me. And he's talking about them and the other aspects. And so we kind of find something in that one thing where we both can be engaged. So
I
I think
like that.
you can
Yeah.
really care because you care about the person, and you find yourself being engaged because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
finding
it's good.
something you like in
Yeah.
the activity, that's a good
Yes.
thing. Yeah, you might
And
not like the
Yeah.
activity,
see,
but find something about
especially
it that can draw you in. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
that's why we have you on the show, because there's a lot of people out there and they're watching and they'll be like, I'm not gonna do that. And they just will not compromise. Yes, I went to
Yeah.
the freaking gift basket making class, but was I happy? No. But I got to hang out with my girls. So,
Yeah. So
but
yeah.
I was gonna ask you that. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that sometimes you got to check a person's baggage or bag before they come in.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's not even that person, sometimes it's you. So how do you focus on finding yourself before finding your mate? Because sometimes, you think that
Mm.
you're perfect from the top of the head to the bottom of your feet, but you're not. So how do you find yourself? How do you focus on finding yourself before you find a mate?
I think it's so important that people make time, just prioritize their me time. Like whether that means, oh, I just like going for a walk in the park. I like listening to my music. I like, getting in my zone at home, painting or cooking or whatever, and really just get in tune with what lights you up and pay attention to those things that when you find yourself having fun. I think people get so caught up in life and work and things that they ignore what lights them up sometimes. That's how people lose their self because they're so busy serving and working and being a mom and a dad and doing all of these things. They forget, well, I really used to love riding my bike, or I really enjoyed that. And so they like, so I think with what one of the things I do, I start listing like things that I enjoy all the time. I'm like, what do I like? What makes me? And I'm like, oh, listening to this music. Oh, I love when I have this song on. Or I love when I'm, you know, feeling the wind and walking in trees and nature and whatever. I think that's so important because the more you know yourself, the more you get in tune with what lights you up, the more you're going to know if that person is lighting you up and if that person is really for you. You won't be so confused and out of touch if you're more in tune with who you are. So
Hmm.
I think that's very important.
That's true. That makes a lot of sense because you definitely have to be in tune with you. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like when they always tell you, I know it sounds crazy, but they always say, you know, work on you. Like when you're on a plane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. So it's like you can't
Yes.
help yourself. You can't help anyone else if you don't, help yourself first. So that does make a lot of sense. And even what you just said, the peacefulness of walking, listening to the park. I mean, listening to music or walking in the park, it brings about a calmness. You know.
Yes.
So
And you know
yeah,
what? When you really prioritize yourself and you start to like show this extra attention towards what helps you and what feels good with you, you don't allow other people to cross your boundaries as easy. You don't allow people to, bring their toxic energy. You know how to stop it like quick. You know
hmm
how to say no to things that don't feel right and be more in tune with that because you're so used to always prioritizing what's important to you,
right.
what's important to you, mind, body, and spirit, and being connected to that.
Yeah. What I wanted to show, I can't name, so don't give me a test because I can't name your 750 books that you've written. So, but but I know, and I think we have a graphic of the books that you have written, but we probably are missing
Yeah,
some. Yeah,
yeah.
I think
Some
we
of
might be
it.
missing. Yeah, because aren't you about to write like your eighth book? You're working on it now.
Yes, yes.
What is
I'm
that
working on the eighth
about?
book.
What's going on with the eighth book?
So, a lot of my books have been on relationships, spirituality, um, and really how what we put out we attract back to us. We reap what we sow. And this book is more of evolving in just the law of attraction and how really being in touch with what you're doing to other people, what you're putting out, what you believe about yourself, how that impacts your relationships, your opportunities, the people that you connect with, all of those things. And so just really going more into that topic.
So we're going to talk about you just for like 3 minutes.
Okay.
I know your value is more than that, but it's the time we have. So you are about to finish your eighth book. I know you're working on it now. You have
Mhm.
is it like a lifestyle clothing line or is it just like a clothing line?
Yes. The
Yeah,
Rainie Howard collection. Yes, yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
I
A lot
saw that.
of
I
people.
love that jumpsuit, girl.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
really exciting. And it's one of my fun things that I love fashion and just being creative. I was I saw a need in the marketplace for fashion and clothing where women can just be creative in their confidence and really show a level of class and style in a way that I just was not seeing it,
Right.
and so I'm super excited about the clothing line and just the new things we have to come. And yeah, it's very fun and exciting.
Yeah.
It's so fun and
And
exciting.
And it's like it's not okay, then there's like a comma, and then it's like, and you have the Rainie Howard show, which is like, it's a podcast, right? I know because I watched
Yes.
some of the episodes today on Facebook. I watched
Awesome.
one. I know I watched the most recent one when your husband probably is on there all the time, but I watched the one where the most recent one I think you did, and he was on the show,
Yeah.
reading the questions. So yeah, tell us about the Rainie Howard show.
So the Rainy Howard show basically has evolved in so many different ways from, starting, with YouTube and Facebook, and it's been virtual. And we also had a live show in a studio here in St. Louis, an audience, studio audience. We've done that and now we're back virtual, and it's super exciting just
Yeah.
to connect. You know how it just feels good to do these
Yes,
shows and connect with
yes,
audience,
I
and
know.
you feel the energy when they send you their questions and different
Uh-huh.
things and all of that engagement. So really the show is all about inspiring people to evolve in every area of their life, through their relationships, through their um, mind, body, and spirit. Just going after your goals. It's a
Yeah.
motivational show.
And when does it
Yeah.
come on? When is it? Is there like a set day that it comes on, or is just kind of like you feel it in your spirit and you put it out there?
So we actually we record live twice a week on Mondays and Fridays at 11:30 Central Standard Time on Facebook Live.
Okay.
And then yeah, we publish on YouTube, all everywhere where podcast is listed.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I think I'm not missing anything, right? Okay, I think so. And Instagram too. And so
Yeah.
yeah, so we're on those platforms.
All right. So, what is one of the things that's on your bucket list that you really hope to accomplish?
Oh, I'm hope I can see myself selling 1 million books.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, Rainey, thank you so much for being on the show today and just for sharing your positive inspiration and motivation. I really, really appreciate it. And it's just like having people like you on the show. It just makes it just kind of confirms why Big Ken and I do this. We always want people on the show that are motivating, that are encouraging, and that definitely are inspiring. And you definitely fit the bill.
Thank you
Indeed.
so much. I really
Yes,
enjoy you guys. This was great. I had a great time. I
yes,
love your
thank you.
energy.
Thank
Thank
you, darling.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. To
Thank
learn more
you.
about Rainey Howard, visit her website. It's Rainey, RAINIE, Howard.com. Thank you, girl.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
I love it. It's like it's always so good to have someone on the show and I know that we haven't had anyone on the show that was like, you know, down, like was like just not encouraging. And
No,
what
everybody's been pretty inspiring.
Yeah, very, very inspiring. And
Hmm.
every show I learned something. Like with Rainey, I really, if you have not checked out her clothing line, not you, Big Kim, but if you have not checked out, if you have not checked out her clothing line, you have to go check it out. I mean, she has these jumpsuits and these off-the-shoulder dresses that are that are awesome. And as always, we always buy stuff from people that are on the show, so I got to really select what I want to buy. But I am digging that off-the-shoulder black jumpsuit she has
Yeah,
on
yeah,
her
yeah. And
website.
she also said something pertinent. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta put on some music and enjoy yourself like
Yes,
Tori does. Let me tell y'all
yes,
something. Tori told me that she puts on Tag Team and Uncle Luke and she twerks in the restroom
yes.
before the
Did I
show to
say
get
that?
herself amped up. You know what I'm
Did I
saying?
say that? They don't
I don't
even
think she
believe
said
me.
that, but I mean that it just
Yeah, I
sounded
was
good,
I
I
was about
guess.
to get into it until you said twerk and da da da
You
and
know, she she
yeah.
she she knows she does that. But
I
anyway.
saw such an innocent little girl. I would never do that.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I love when we have people. I love having people on the show that bring energy, that bring inspiration, that bring knowledge, and they share it.
Yeah, her
And
energy is amazing. Her
yeah,
energy is amazing.
it
She
really
smiled a
is.
lot. Like
I was
when
going to say
people,
she has
yeah,
such a beautiful
yeah, when
smile.
people come with that type of energy, it's infectious, and you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying. You just feel that energy transfer. So, you know what I'm saying. We
yeah.
have guests like that. That is absolutely amazing.
Yes, it is. So, thank you, Miss Rainey Howard, for being on the show
Indeed.
today. Remember, you can catch KUTC live right here on Facebook every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or if you miss the show, visit blacklineentertainment.com. At the end of every show, I give you a quote. And this week's quote is: If you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place.
Get your
Until next
mind right.
time.
Make sure
Until
you
next
keep up the
time.
conversation, y'all.
Yeah, you do that.
Peace.
Peace out.